Hello, and welcome to SongWriters Spotlight, the Western Mass Songwriters Collaborative Series. I'm Dr. Dan, your host of the show, where we feature Western Mass songwriters who perform their original songs and talk about the art of songwriting. Stay tuned to explore more about music and the tunesmithing that creates it. Our featured songwriter in this episode is Shawn Chartier, whose vocals and rhythm guitar carry interesting lyrics about feelings and relationships. Here's Shawn Chartier.
All right. So this is a song I wrote called The King of OK. I basically wanted to explore what I really mean when people ask me, like, how are you doing? And I say, oh, I'm okay. When that's not usually the truth. It's usually a little more complicated than that. So this is a song about what I'm really feeling when I say I'm okay. Lying on the floor, staring up at the ceiling, but how to quantify this feeling to you? We're gonna get up for work each and every morning, that's what normal people do. How many wrong turns can you unlearn? How long will you be willing and able? How many chest pains can you sustain before you're looking at something just a little more fatal? But I'm having a very normal time, mutter under my breath, yes, this is fine. My life is not on the line today. Walking around town with my head down, I don't wanna give anything damning away. I'm gonna tell everyone I meet I'm doing well, that's what normal people say. How many hard days can you kick through before the little headline fractures appear? How many wrong ways can you undo before the ending is all too clear? And I'm running on fear, it's jet fuel, supernova imminent, but keep it cool, cause I'm having a very normal time. Mutter under my breath, yes, this is fine. My life's not on the line today. Oh no, no way. It's all very commonplace. Can't you see the smile on my face? There is not one doubt, not a trace of pain. I am the king of OK. True that I don't feel anything, and yes, you guessed it, I pass as a beacon of indifference, where no consequences last. Oh, to be the sovereign of nonchalance, when all I want is everything I got. I wouldn't be caught dead, ever losing my head. I'd never claim to be something I'm not, cause in the court of the king of OK, it's the sort of charade where you play it off. Yeah, every day you play it off. But I'm having a very normal time. Mutter under my breath, yes, this is fine. My life is not on the line, no. Having a very normal time. Mutter under my breath, yes, this is fine. My life's not on the line today. Oh no, no way. It's all very commonplace. Can't you see the smile on my face? There is not one doubt, not a trace of pain. I'll be right as rain, that's what normal people say. I am the king of OK. So this song is called Retail Therapy, and I wrote it while sitting at the Hampshire Mall in the food court in the middle of the day, one day, and I was struck by how sad and empty the mall was. I've grown up here my whole life, and when I was younger, I remember it was a little more busy at the mall. There'd be people everywhere, but now it's only like on the holidays it's like that. And the rest of the year, It's very sad to go there and sit around and look at this empty building that used to be full of life. And when I was sitting there in the food court, I was kind of going through a bit of a breakup at the time, and I was struck by, the similarity of looking back on the relationship and feeling wistful about it, but also the wistfulness of the empty mall that I used to know and used to be full of life. So. I think the mall is the saddest damn place. The bright empty storefronts, the wide empty spaces, the workers mill about there with nothing to do. And that's how the day feels when I'm not with you. Suburban white ladies are clutching their bags. Kiosk man selling phone cases is nagging me. Old high school faces keep on drifting through the way I keep drifting when I'm not with you. The corridors smell like cheap candles and dust, and the fountain in the food court is dried up and busted. At 6 o'clock sharp, all the shutters will come down. The first place to close in this town. The newsstand's been open for 21 years, but the Chinese food shop is all closed up and cleared out. The shoe store blasts pop songs for no one to hear, and that's how I feel when I don't have you near me. The dollar store outlet hangs on by a thread. The roller skate rink is all dark, it looks dead up there. The bathroom is filthy, there's trash on the ground. And that's how it feels now that you're not around. The arcade is lit up, but nobody's going. The Cinemark's empty, there's nothing good showing. This whole place could vanish, and no one would know. But if you were here, then this place would be glowing. 'Cause everywhere you go, you shine so bright. You'd still look so pretty neath these fluorescent lights. And I'm bored of the stores as the people pass through. Not a single one's half as lovely as you. I don't have much hope left for retail therapy. I guess the millennials killed this poor industry. And look now, the mall is the saddest damn place. When everything here makes me think of your face. Okay, this is a song called Chickadee that I wrote it for a good friend of mine. And I also was sitting outside one day and just listening to the birds and listening to the black-capped chickadees, which is one of my favorite birds. And I was kind of thinking of how to write a song for my friend, and also thinking about how I wanted to write a song about the birds, and then they kind of just came together. So. Little black-capped chickadee singing sweetly to me. Chickadee-dee-dee, now I'm home free. Are you bringing springtime with the buds and the leaves? Buzzing so much brighter than every single honeybee. Chickadee-dee-dee, just you and me. Could've sworn I saw you in a birch or a sycamore tree, with me through the winter, but I'm just starting to see. Chickadee-dee-dee, it's you and me. La-da-da. There's someone in the garden planting seeds that won't grow. Oh no, 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 there's still some snow. How did you see little old me when I'm so far below? Still we're sitting in the sunset, singing in the afterglow. Chickadee-dee-dee, just you and me. Could've sworn I saw you in a birch or a sycamore tree, with me through the winter, but I'm just starting to see. Chickadee-dee-dee, it's you and me. La-da-da. La-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. December left us scattered, tattered, and torn, but I can make it through the night if I'll see you in the morning. You're silhouetted neath the cranberry sky, all feathers and moon dust every time that you fly. Little black-capped chickadee, tell me, what can I say? Well, hey, 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 it's a brand new day. Now it's just a bit warmer, coax the greens from the gray. You wrote a little ditty to sing the night away. Chickadee-dee-dee, just you and me. Could've sworn I saw you in a birch or a sycamore tree, with me through the winter, but I'm just starting to see. Chickadee-dee-dee, it's you and me. Chickadee-dee-dee, it's you and me. Chickadee-dee-dee, it's you and me. La-da-da. La-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, this song is called Maybe Okay. I guess I like to meditate a lot on the word okay and what it means. This one is I was kind of trying to reframe the way I think about saying things are just okay, when in fact they could probably be a lot worse. So sometimes it's okay that things are just okay. Maybe I could make us some dinner. Maybe we could watch a movie too. You wouldn't even have to pick a great one either, 'cause the best part is just sitting next to you. And that is how you make a bad thing good. Maybe we could walk the bike path. I've walked this way 100,000 times. You wouldn't have to talk about anything special. I just like the way the words form in your mind. And that is how you make a sad day fine. I dream at night of 100 other lives, but then I find nothing has changed in the morning light. Maybe someday I'll build something much better than Better Off, Better, you bet. Or maybe okay is as good as it's gonna get. Maybe we could hike up a little mountain and look out at the storm clouds rolling by. You wouldn't even have to pack a hood or raincoat. It's a little bit overrated, this being dry. And And that is how you make a dull place bright. I dream at night of 100 other lives, but then I find, well, nothing has changed in the morning light. Maybe someday I'll build something much better than Better Off, Better, you bet. Or maybe okay is as good as it's gonna get. Say okay like a rain cloud rumbling. You say okay when you're cold and numb. Well, maybe okay is resentment humming, or a sign that the worst is yet to come. But knowing how dark it gets when I can hardly see, well, maybe just being a-okay is the way I wanna be. Oh, maybe we could go for a car ride and listen to the song stuck in your head. You wouldn't have to pick a cool destination. We can just go where we end up at instead. And that is how you make a broken heart start to mend. I dream at night of 100 other lives, but then I find, well, nothing has changed in the morning light. Maybe someday I'll build something much better than Better Off, Better, you bet. Or maybe okay is as good as it's going to get. Yeah, maybe okay is as good as it's going to get. Okay, the song is called Your Biggest Fan. And I was having a fun time thinking about how crazy some people get about, celebrities or musicians they're into. And I just thought this was a fun way of exploring that. So. I bet you heard this all before, but I think you'll understand if you hear it one time more, 'cause I'm your biggest fan. Hey, sometimes I think you can read my mind, 'cause you say what's in my heart. So I'll be the first person in line, and I printed your astrology chart. Can't see what you mean to me behind my one-way mirrored screen. I'm not coming on strong, no, you got me all wrong. Yeah, you got me all wrong, yeah, you got me. Even if this cruel world chews you up and spits you out, I'll be your biggest fan. Even if the cool girls think you suck and call you cringe, I'll think you're the man. You don't even have to thank me, I don't mind slaving away in the shadows for your love. I'd lay face down in a puddle, keep you out of the mud. And you know what, that would be enough for your love. Hey, there's no need to get the big bald guy involved. I'll just see myself out now. I wanna reach and touch you, but I think you'd scald me and rend my flesh like hellfire. You can't see what you mean to me, playing the lead role in my dreams. I'm not coming on strong, no, you got me all wrong. No, you got me all wrong, yeah, you got me. Even if this cruel world chews you up and spits you out, I'll be your biggest fan. Even if the cool girls think you suck and call you cringe, I'll think you're the man. You don't even have to thank me, I don't mind slaving away in the shadows for your love. I'd lay face down in a puddle, keep you out of the mud. And you know what, that would be enough. But what to even do to prove my loyalty to you? Though the oft-imagined moment it never comes to pass. Should I send a lock of hair to show you that I really care? Or maybe just a finger to start, then my heart, so it'll be yours at last. Got all of the merch, I wanna start a church. I love you till it hurts. I got all of the merch, I wanna start a church. I love you till it hurts. Even if this cruel world chews you up and spits you out, I'll be your biggest fan. Even if the cool girls think you suck and call you cringe, I'll think you're the man. You don't even have to thank me, I don't mind slaving away in the shadows for your love. I'd lay face down in a puddle, keep you out of the mud. And you know what? That would be enough. This is called New Frontiers. I guess it's just kind of a love song at its core. I don't really know what else to say about it. My love found a home where the sweet William grows. My perennial companion is a thorny wild rose. They warned me, son, you can't plan for what you just don't know. I've known it for 100 miles with hundreds more to go. I look back and you smile. I could walk this way for miles. 3 cheers for crossing new frontiers. There's one thing I can't measure. How do you always bring merry weather? I only wish that you were still here. There's so much that could be in this sea to shining sea. While we look up at the starlight, carve our names into a tree. There is Castor and there's Pollux, there is you and there is me. When I feel the night air on my face, I know that I am free. I look back and you smile. I could walk this way for miles. 3 cheers for crossing new frontiers. There is one thing I can't measure. How do you always bring merry weather? I only wish that you were still here. I bet you will try to get on with your life. You'll settle on a hillside with some kids and a wife, and you'll kill it at the parties with the landlords and the like. I don't know what is wrong with me that I cannot get this right, 'cause I doubt I'll ever marry, I doubt I'll father sons. Once I had a purpose, but that's over with and done. Sometimes I wake up scared at night when I think what I've become, 'cause I've known it for 100 miles with nowhere else to run. And I've been drinking more than I meant to, and thinking maybe I can't captain this ship, thinking maybe I'm not cut out for this. But I look back and you smile. I could walk this way for miles. 3 cheers for crossing new frontiers. There is one thing I can't measure. How do you always bring merry weather? I only wish that that you were still here. I look back and you smile. I could walk this way for miles. 3 cheers for crossing new frontiers. There is one thing I can't measure. How do you always bring merry weather? I only wish that you were still here. 'Cause I've been drinking more than I meant to. And thinking maybe I can't captain this ship. Thinking maybe I'm not cut out for this.
Well, I certainly enjoyed your vocals and your solid rhythm guitar today, and you do a nice lyrical exploration of relationships and emotions and solid folk rock style.
Thank you.
Yeah, I enjoyed it so much, and I know our viewers will too. So how long have you been doing this?
Probably since I was like, I think I wrote my first song when I was like 15 or 16. When I was growing up, my dad wrote songs and played guitar, and so did my brother. So there were always a bunch of guitars around our house, and there were always like a bunch of music playing, so it was a very musical environment. Mm. So I think at some point, all of that kind of just sunk into me, and I was like sitting around one day, and there was a guitar and a guitar stand, and I was like, you know what? It's time that I learned how to play that. Mm. So I taught myself some chords. I learned the simplest of songs, other people's songs, and then, once I kind of had learned the chords and had a way of like writing songs, all of a sudden like lyrics started to come to me, and I was like, oh, this is something I can do. And I've written ever since, I guess.
Wow. So why do you do it?
It's like a compulsion. I don't have a choice. As soon as I started writing, it was something I couldn't shut off in my brain. It's just like there's always like lyrics, little pieces of lyrics and songs in my head. It's like constantly playing. So I feel like I have to write them, and I like have to make songs, or else I would just go crazy with it all still up there. Yeah, it's just like, it's a really good way for me to like explore hard things that I'm thinking about and difficult emotions that just like are too hard to talk about. I feel like if you get into them in song, it's a lot easier to explore them that way. Safer, maybe, to explore them that way, for me anyway. Yeah, I just felt like once I started, I couldn't stop, and it was like the only way for me to say what I was really thinking. It's hard for me to like sit and talk like this, like we're just talking. This feels really scary and awkward for me, but it doesn't feel the same when I like get up and sing about something that's hard, because it's just, I don't know, it's just singing. That comes way easier to me than this, so I guess I gotta do it. I have no choice.
Well, who were some of the people that inspired your style and your lyrical writing and so on?
Probably the biggest influence on me was Bruce Springsteen. As my mom is a huge fan, and she always had it playing, always had an album playing. A lot of just all kinds of 70s artists too, like Van Morrison, and there was also a lot of like Dire Straits and Mark Knopfler playing, and my whole family would just play music around the house, and I would always just absorb it and listen, and I just like totally embraced whatever they put on. I didn't really care to be rebellious musically. I was just like, no, give me your music taste. I love it. So I kind of just grew up listening to a lot of those 70s, 80s artists. And then like later, and when I was actually like starting to write, I was listening to a lot of like newer folk artists like Josh Ritter and Girly Man, and they were probably a pretty big influence when I first started writing, when I was like in my late teens. But like at the same time, I was also listening to a lot of like progressive rock at that time too, and like that doesn't come out in my songwriting, I don't think, but
like obviously I do kind of like folk rock singer-songwriter stuff, but I'm sure there's like little bits and pieces of the other artists I was listening to that kind of influenced me in weird ways. So yeah, I try to just like listen to all kinds of stuff. Whenever I'm feeling kind of stuck, I'll just listen to whatever weird music and see if I can grab onto anything that'll influence me or make me feel excited about songwriting.
What kinds of topics do you like to write about?
I really enjoy writing about uncomfortable topics.
Oh.
I think. I mean, not so much the songs I did today, but like a lot of the songs I've written over the years are just like, I like to dig into really uncomfortable emotional topics, like really like depression and feeling really like existential and like mortality and like not knowing where you're going in life. I love exploring all that stuff and like just sadness in everyday life. I find it very compelling to write about sad topics. I'm trying to do a little less of that now, so because it can be a little bit of a downer when you're always writing sad songs. But I do really like that stuff. I'm just interested by the sorts of topics that people don't really like to talk about, maybe, or the kinds of things that people are feeling but they don't really know how to say. Like, that just really interests me to kind of dig into what people are really thinking and the psychological things that we hide from each other. Like I was saying before, it's like, for me, it's easier to sing about hard topics than it is to talk about them, so I like to kind of explore those things in my songwriting.
The use of the word okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's usually a lie. Like, if someone's like, oh, how you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm okay. And it's like, no, I'm not, usually. It's usually kind of like, well, there's a lot more going on than that. And that interests me. You know, what aren't people saying, how they're really feeling? I like kind of getting into that, into people's hidden worlds in their brain. And like, why do people act the way they do? Like, why do people do weird things? I like exploring that in my songs too.
What would be an example of a weird thing?
Well, when I was writing the song Your Biggest Fan, which is about like, you know, being fanatically into somebody, like a musician or something, is like, I mean, I recognize some of that in myself too. Like, I get obsessive about music sometimes, maybe not to that extent, hopefully, but like, I just think that's interesting. Like, why do people get obsessed? And like, why do people act crazy? And why do people do stuff that feels like irrational or maybe like weird? And I just think people's hidden psychological states are very fascinating to me. And I like to explore what's going on in there. So.
Yeah, well, that qualifies as weird, yes. That's a very interesting song. So, what process do you follow when you're writing a song?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to think about my own process because a lot of the times it feels like it just sort of happens. I feel like when I'm really into writing, like when I go into that like flow state of like working on a song where I'm just totally focused on it, it feels like it comes out of like the void. It just kind of like appears, even though it's not really true. Because I write lyrics all the time, like every day. You know, I have it on my phone, and I'm just like writing down things that pop into my head, or if I see someone walking by who looks interesting in some kind of way, like I'll write that down. So I'm like always writing lyrics, and I'm always like practicing writing little like couplets and rhymes and stuff. So when I do eventually like decide I want to write a whole song, it doesn't really come out of the void because I'm like practicing it all the time. And like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like I get seized by a particularly strong emotion or particularly strong compulsion about some topic. Like it just feels, something about it feels compelling, and then I flesh it out into a whole song rather than like just a snippet of a lyric or something. I don't know, and it's hard to say like when that's going to strike me because I feel like I'm not I'm not very good at just sitting down and being like, okay, I'm gonna write a song, like I'm gonna do it, because then I just sit there and I'm like, and nothing comes to me. It always feels a little more spontaneous to me, like the inspiration kind of strikes, and then I go into the crazy state where I'm just like writing everything. Mm-hmm. But then like, once I've done that, I usually write way too much. Whenever I'm trying to write a song, I go way overboard, like so far beyond what like verse, chorus. No, I do like 6 verses, just way too much. I remember like when I was in high school, I was in a creative writing class, and I was getting peer reviewed by this other kid, and he was like, the story's really good, but you wrote a little too much. And I was like, oh, what do you mean? And I was like, he was like, your sentences, there's too much in them. There's too many words. And I was like, oh, really? Like, I didn't even know. But I'm totally like that when I write songs. I just like put too many words in the line, and I'm like, okay, I gotta trim this down. And then once I kind of have, way too much, then I kind of go in and say like, okay, what have I written that actually gets to the emotional core of the song, gets to what I want to say? I have to kill a lot of darlings and end up with a pared down song that actually like works. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess that's as far as I can say about my process.
Well, there's a big editing component.
Huge, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a huge editor, huge critic. Like as I'm writing, even I'll be editing. I like to try to practice, like free flowing, just write whatever and don't think too much about it. But it's really hard for me to do that. Most of the time I'm like writing and I'm like, no, that sounds stupid as I'm writing it, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to change that later, and then usually I end up going back and changing it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the editing is a huge component of my process. Some songs go through many phases and many like drafts before they're ready.
So you're not one of these one and done songwriters?
No, I feel like I really agonize over my songs. Mm-hmm. To the point where like I've had songs that have been done for like years, and suddenly I'll look at them and I'll be like, this line doesn't really work. Maybe I could do something a little different here. So I guess it's a never-ending process. Maybe they're never really done.
So what would you suggest to other people who are songwriters or aspire to be songwriters?
I mean, I think maybe I'm biased because this is just my personal process, but like I think you should practice like all the time, and it doesn't matter if it's stupid. Like I think, well, like I just said, I think most of the stuff I write is stupid, but I just get it down. I just write all kinds of lyrics about whatever every day. I just practice all the time, and I feel like that really helps make the words come more naturally. You just keep, you can start with like poems. You don't have to go straight to the songwriting. It's like my mom right now is. She kind of wants to get into songwriting because she's written a few like lyrics and poems and stuff, and like I think that's great. I think everyone should do it, honestly. It's just such a great way to explore your feelings and explore like your feelings and stuff, and like I get stuck a lot. Like I get writer's block for songwriting. And it's pretty maddening because like a lot of times I like want to write a song, but nothing will come out. And so like when I get stuck like that, I just kind of go to other people. I listen to other songwriters, and when I get stuck, it's like I just explore as much music as possible to find something that feels like interesting, something. I feel like I'm always looking for the thing that's gonna like unblock the river. I'm looking for some new song or new genre or new songwriter that will make me feel like I'm into it again. And so when I feel blocked, I just or not even when I feel blocked, like all the time. I'm always trying to find new music. And I think like, because I never want to just do the same stuff with my songs. Like, I mean, obviously I stick to a certain folk singer-songwriter-y type of style, but I love exploring all kinds of different genres and maybe like taking little pieces of them and seeing how I can kind of reinvigorate my own style by using other people's ideas. And I think that's like, I think anyone who writes songs should just be open to new ideas always, because you never know where you're going to get inspiration from.
They should go out and seek that kind of inspiration from
I mean,
various
like
kinds of music,
I mean, I'll listen like on my computer, like I'll go on YouTube and like Spotify and stuff and listen to recommendations and like read what fans of people that I already like also listen to, and like I'll do that. But also like going to the open mics and stuff in the area and like hearing other people, it's just like, you just like can't even imagine the amount of things going on in other people's heads, and it's so like, that's so cool to me, and that makes me feel so like excited to write when I go and I hear people write these songs about things that I just would never think to write about, and that makes me feel like, oh, like I need to go home and write. Like that's really cool. So.
Well, you've certainly graced this stage with some great songwriting and performance. Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for watching our show. I would like to acknowledge the support of the Western Mass Songwriters Collaborative, promoting the original music scene in Western Massachusetts. If you want to learn more about the WMSC, go to their Facebook page. Thanks for watching. I'm Dr. Dan. I hope you'll tune in again for the show that puts a spotlight on songwriters.